from our perspective as a partner of Neptune, Neptune is a great and powerful tool because it allows you to do quite a number of things all in one. First of all, Neptune software is installed into your SAP NetWeaver application server. From 4.7 upwards, it's possible to do that. What that means is I don't need another server landscape. I can use the existing SAP system to mobilize your business. I can use the existing SAP transportation management system. It allows me to, because it's based on your SAP ABAP, if you have an ABAP developer in-house, you can use the existing knowledge and resources to build these applications. And it allows us to upskill your SAP ABAP developer to build these HTML5 applications. And I'll show that in a sec in the system as well. And I can write the code once, consume it everywhere. So any HTML5 compliant browser effectively allows you to use this. If I'm a desktop or a laptop user, for mobile applications, the supported operating systems are the usual suspects, and that's enabled with using PhoneGap. So let me switch back to my SAP system. So how does this now actually look like? How does this work within SAP? So this is my development system and development client. And you can see it follows the approach Neptune is taking around design, manage, run. And one example I want to do is what you get with Neptune is also templates, and that is meant to kickstart your own usability and mobility project. So just for this example I was showing you, if you actually don't have an auto ordering process, if I use this template here, purchase orders from requisitions, and what that gives you is two parts. One is the application itself, which is the app as you see it, and the other one is the ABAP class behind it to actually provide you with the backend integration. So, and I'm just going to import that from the Neptune App Store, and that will basically download the app and install it in my system. So this will just take a few seconds. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of changes, one for the app and one for the ABAP side. So that's the app imported here. Let me go back. So now I can basically change this app to my need. So the app as such are running, but it might not have exactly the information I want on it. So I can change it, copy and change it. So I'm going to change it directly. So this was installing the application. I'm going to change it. And so I can now explain a little bit the designer, which is the main part of what the developer would do. So in the settings here, I can see first of all this app is tied to this ABAP class, which provides me the data from SAP. I also choose the libraries which I want to use from SAP UI5, and this is why a Neptune app can look like exactly like a Fiori app and allows you to have sort of a unified user experience, so you're not broken between Fiori apps and Neptune apps. You can of course choose your theme. The blue crystal is the standard one, and many more things. Let me also just show you how this, from a developer point of view, works. I just need to change my subclient because in 60 I got my data. So this is the app just installed now, and essentially, if you think about that in SAP terms, the transaction ME57, ME58 to assign and order requisitions, and I've prepared a couple of examples here. So this is the app essentially working, so I can see some unassigned requisitions, and here I actually know there's some requisitions it's not showing, because my requisitions are free text, and that wasn't immediately supported. So there's two things I want to do now. One is to show the requisitions, which are free text requisitions, and also I want to bring another field onto the screen. So here I can see the fields, and I want to say, for example, the document type in this as well. So how does this work? So here we have, first of all, the libraries, which are activated, and it allows me to drag and drop the user interface elements onto the app, if that's what I want to do. So if I want to create another page, I would create that here. And what it does then is it gives me on the right-hand side all the attributes which have been defined by SAP for this UI element, as well as the events where effectively I would have to code what happens if I press a button, or, well, obviously it depends on the UI element. So basically this is the way to build up my application, and the screen we have been seeing was the list of requisitions which have been assigned. And I said I wanted to add the document type to it. So I look at the table. I can see also the binding of the table to my SAP variables, essentially, or a table in this case. And I will show in a second how that data is actually supplied by using the class. But for the moment, because I just want to add the field onto the screen, so I'm using the wizard here to add a field. I said I want the purchasing document type, so I'll just choose the field from the internal table, and it added it here to my list. So here is essentially the heading. So and if I don't want it to say this longer document type, but something shorter, I obviously can change the attributes here in this case. And then actually the data is bound to the rows, and these are the columns in those rows. So I need to put that in the right place to move that. And that's essentially a simple change done. I activate the application, takes a moment, and while that is activating, I will, or that is done, I'll go into the class builder. So how does now the provisioning from the SAP backend work? Neptune is using Ajax calls. So in the class which comes with the application, you basically implement this method, and obviously if you're an ABAP developer, this will make all the sense to you, because in here actually the data provisioning happens. So how does this work? So when the data here is essentially tied to an Ajax ID, which is called when I run the application. I'll go into one place. So, and what I'm going to do here is effectively now a backend change, so the data provisioning. So here's a standard function module from SAP to read requisitions. And one of the things is the template basically removes everything which isn't referring to a material number. And because I have free text requisitions, I'm using this template to amend it to my individual business requirements, and I've activated this. So if I now go back to the application, I'll refresh that. What I expect is that when I run this now again, that first of all, I can see now here there's 3 requisitions which I prepared earlier are showing up. They are already assigned to a vendor. And then what I can do is, and also the other thing is I can see the document type, which is the field which I just added to the list. And And that's me done with two simple changes. So I have changed the user interface, and I have changed the backend behavior to suit my business needs. And here's my PO. And when I go back to my Launchpad, actually that should actually then also show up here in my list. And that's sort of the technical side in a nutshell.